Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest edition of Tales from Outer Space. Hope you enjoy. Story number 1. Prisons, written by Monarch 357. It was just dumb luck, really. A good shot, target down, leap across 2 rooftops, down a ladder, into an alleyway, and there's 3 human officers all pointing rifles at me. No part of the plan. "Drop the gun, put your hands up and kneel. We won't hurt you," the soldier, I assumed to be the squad leader, told me. I spent more than a few years total in prisons across the galaxy, and I wasn't going back there, no way. I guess the squad saw me eyeing the surroundings for an escape, and they were cautiously raising their rifles at me. The man spoke again. "Listen, we don't want to hurt you, but if you're going to do this the hard way, then we're going to have to." His expression noticeably hardening. Feck you! What else could I say? What else could I do? I ran. The notable clicks of the safety switched off, echoing in the alleyway behind me, but gunfire didn't follow. This wasn't going to be much of a chase if they didn't even try. I turned and tried to jump upwards, but the officers were anticipating it. An odd, sharp burning sensation spread through my lower back, and I hit the ground. Wind knocked out of my lungs. The next thing I knew, everything went dark. When I woke up, I couldn't immediately tell how long it had been. My throat was dry, but I, oddly enough, was free to move. The cushiony, relatively anyway, bedding beneath me was another departure from the most of my time in prisons across the galaxy. These were different. I heard a voice over the speaker with nobody inside the room. "Are you awake?" the voice began. No hint of hostility or contempt. To me, this was obviously a trap, intent to soften me up before the hammers of punishment struck. I wasn't new to this game. "I'm not going to talk. Whatever you do, get it over with already." "Bluntness will get you nowhere, sir," the intercom continued. His voice was maddeningly gentle. "Whatever you went through out there, you won't in here." "I'm not here for therapy, jackass." "Well, if you won't speak, then we can just sit here for a few hours until you get processed. Your call." We sat there in an oddly friendly silence for hours. I contemplated their odd kindness. Any other jail would have by now thrown me in solitary confinement, tried sensory deprivation, or just straight up resorted to physical torture. Compared to the worst I'd been through in the past, this was a brief vacation. I would almost feel bad breaking out. The humans didn't seem so bad. End of story. Story number 2. Myths and Consequences, written Erebos Yeet. The fat trader finally got what he was after. He'd been sitting in this bar for hours now, waiting for someone interesting to walk in. Preferably someone who had some good information on lucrative deals. But really, even just someone that could entertain him was good enough. When the human walked in, he couldn't have been happier. You rarely meet humans in this cluster, after all. It only took the promise of a free drink to get the human to talk to him. And thus, there they sat. The human somewhat nervous-looking, the trader with excitement in his bulging eyes. "So," he said, as he gave him a glass of beer, "what brings a human this far from home?" "Oh, just some personal business, I just have some promises to fulfill." "Promises?" the fat trader asked. He knew from the few short times that he had met this biped that they had a lot of foreign concepts. He didn't quite understand most of them. "Yeah, promises. How do you explain it? When you make a promise, you say that you will definitely do something." As the human talked, he seemed to get a little more comfortable. Yet his eyes still zagged around the bar, like a prey animal checking its surroundings. "When I say something, I also intend to do it. Why would you need a different way to say it?" "Because my species lies, my friend." The human laughed quietly. His black hair fell in front of his eyes. "That I have heard of before. It seems unnecessarily complicated, if you ask me. Do you humans have more of these, concepts?" "I think the word that you're looking for is myth. It's basically something most humans pretend to believe in, a shared lie of some kind." "Why would you believe in these things if they're all lies? It seems asinine." Realizing this might offend his table guest, he quickly added, I hope you don't take that the wrong way. I'm just not wired to understand this. No problem, brother. You can't fight biology. His voice was deep and reassuring, but trembled a little. Humans living together in big groups had to invent these shared myths to effectively get things done. Everyone in our societies has a different opinion. You guys are a bit more uniform, so you don't need all those silly little lies. So what are some of these myths? The fat trader asked. He wasn't particularly fat for his species, but to anyone else he seemed like a slug. His legs were barely visible under the thick layers of meat. Seeing as no other species could pronounce the name of the slug-like creature, they just named him the Fat Trader. We humans believe that we are connected somehow. If a member of our clan gets attacked, we believe that the clan has the shared responsibility to go and help them. The closer the person is to a human, the fiercer they will protect them, even if it costs our lives. That seems sensible, I suppose. Humans aren't particularly strong, no claws and all that. Perhaps you can find strength in numbers. See? You get it, the human exclaimed. It is quite straightforward. We protect those we consider ours, and we get to protected by them. Isn't it dangerous to do this every time someone is threatened? Stressful, too. I'm not sure I could manage. The trader seemed genuinely impressed. Surprise! We have myths for that, too. The human seemed a little too animated about the subject. His energy was radiating through the room. Humans believe that everything will work out in the end. If you just keep going, you'll get there. We keep the hope high and expect our efforts to deliver good results. Do you really believe that? Most of my children are already smarter than that. The enormous body of the trader shuddered with laughter. He didn't even hide how stupid he thought these humans were anymore. Oh no, it's a lie. We all know that. Then why say it? If you repeat it enough, you'll start to believe it. And why quit? If you believe everything will be okay, it reduces the stress severely. Interesting. What if you can't protect your clan anymore? If the damage has already been done? That's where it gets interesting, actually. Some believe our clanmates will go to a perfect place after death. Sadly, we can't reach it when we're alive. I personally, however, don't believe in all that crap. He paused. We also have the myth of vengeance. The human lended great gravitas to the last word. A bit nervous, he didn't quite know if he should continue. Vengeance? The slug asked impatiently. Explain. The belief that you can right a wrong by doing unto aggressors what has been done unto you. An eye for an eye. It doesn't really work, as far as I can tell. It only makes the situation worse. The slug had gone bored by now. These myths seemed pointless, unimportant, so we decided to change the subject. Interesting. Thank you for indulging me in these foreign concepts. Now, I must ask again, what brings you here? The human looked down, his emotions hidden deep within. He responded calmly, yet the tone was clearly an aggressive tone. 2 years ago, some fat, slimy bastard kidnapped my wife and children during a raid. I came here looking for them. The atmosphere at the table dropped, almost as if the hole in the ship had suddenly depressed the room. The fat trader was smart enough to realize that this wasn't good news. Carefully, he prodded further. I am sorry to hear that. Did you find them? Yes. In the logs of the mine some planet away from here. They're dead. I also found the name of the person who sold them to that horrible place. His voice was shaking. Slowly, he put his right hand above the table, a gun pointed at the trader. Immediately, several guards sitting at nearby tables jumped out of their seats, hand on holster. This does not seem like a smart idea. It is 1 against 6. Put your gun away, and I'll forget this. 1 against 6? I just explained how humans always protect each other. Did you forget that already? The slug's bulging eyes could see it now. Everywhere in the bar, humans had been secretly positioned in spots where they could react immediately. As soon as these guards had sprung into action, they had too. They had outmatched the guards. Most of the slug's hirelings stood frozen in ice, feeling the human blasters pointing in their backs. Even if you kill me, you won't leave the planet alive. The port authorities will not stand for unnecessary violence. You and your little friends don't stand a chance. The human smiled deviously, his yellowish teeth bare, knowing that it was all going exactly as he had planned. "Oh, don't worry about me. I'm sure I'll be all right." He winked in the most arrogant way possible. The tension quickly kept mounting. This was happening. This was not good. "What is this? Vengeance? You said yourself that it doesn't help. You have nothing to gain." "Vengeance?" the human asked, as it hadn't even come to his mind. In silence, he climbed up to the table and sat down on there, right in front of the slug. Now, at the same eye height, he put his gun right up onto the bloated forehead. The trader signed to his men not to act. "No, this isn't vengeance. If I wanted vengeance, I would have captured you and all of those you hold dearly. I would have slowly murdered them in front of you, cutting them open one by one. Then, when they were all dead, I would torture you. I would piss in your wounds. I would keep going until you begged for death, and even a little after. Then I would dump all of your blood-covered corpses in some hole in a planet no one has ever heard of, and leave them there to rot." The human spat the words out, his face red-hot with anger. "But I like to think I'm better than that, so no, this is not vengeance." Scared and panicking, the fat trader looked him in the eyes and asked, "Then, why are you doing this? If this isn't vengeance, what is this?" "This? Oh my! I forgot to tell you about this myth. How stupid of me." He slapped his left hand against his forehead, as if to laugh at his own stupidity, but his eyes were unamused, determined. He continued, "This is not vengeance, my dear slave trader friend. This is justice." End of story.